uncontrolled chaos here. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen has just came out with the art direction they're going. I'm very interested in this, mainly because I'm a game designer by trade, and in that I am on the art side. I do 3D modeling, texturing, things like that. So this really grabs onto me. So what they've announced in the direction that they're going, they start off with talking about how they got their start. So as we all know, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen was a Kickstarted game. So they used ways to prototype their game as best as possible, which was they used Unity and the asset store to build out and try out the game, which is honestly nowadays a really good way of doing things, is utilizing game engines and their art asset store to build out your game and give it somewhat of a look until you lock down the look, but allows you to build and prototype your game. Now, they have finally decided on a art direction because they don't want to be locked in using the Unity asset store, which is very, very smart. You want to use your own artists. You want to leverage your own art style. And the art style they're going with is the hand painted art style. In all honesty, I think this is the best move they could have made. And here are the reasons why. When you go with a hand painted art style for your video game's graphics end up lasting a long time. We are talking decades in time. Let's give an example. World of Warcraft. There are a lot of people that love World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft uses a hand-painted texture for their game. Compare that to something like, let's say, Black Desert Online or something else along that lines, where they're going with the more realistic graphics. When you go with realistic graphics at the time, what ends up happening is you dated your game because you're using the top technology at the time to make your graphics look as realistic as possible. What ends up happening is you date that game. You time-stamped that game because you're touching up pictures and photos and stuff like that, and you try and make things look as realistic at that time as possible. Whereas if you do a hand painted texture effect, it gives a different feel. It gives more of an art feel to it. So the player isn't looking at as, they're using the most top of the line technology for their graphics. It's more of, they've done a really nice artsy style to their graphics, and it makes it timeless. And that is a really good thing. That means that in 10 years, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen will not look or age as badly as some other games. Because if you look 10 years down the line, if Black Desert Online does not update their graphics, guess what? It's going to look aged and old. Why? Because graphics have gotten better in the realistic aspect. Whereas in the hand-painted aspect, it stays around in that artistic value. It stays, and it has staying power. And that's the reason why I personally, when I do my artwork, I like doing the hand-painted style myself, because you get to put your own influence and twist and spin on it. You get to be creative and do things like that. Whereas with the realistic, guess what? You can't be as creative. You can't put your spin and twist on it. You can't sit there and say, that tree's supposed to be purple. The grass is supposed to be blue. The sky will be green. No, you can't do that when you're doing realistic. The sky has to be blue. The grass has to be green. That tree has to be brown with green leaves, or if it's in autumn, it needs to be orange and browns and reds. So you can't change things up and be really creative with your art style. This allows the Pantheon Rise of the Fallen developers to use their creativity to be unique and to stand out on their own, which is another reason I think this is a smart move by the team. Comment down below and tell me what you think about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen's art direction. Do you like the direction that they're going? Do you hate the direction they're going? And why? Have a great day.